The Roku 3 reviewed. Apple expands flyover coverage in their maps. The Kindle Fire HD 8.9 inch receives a price drop, and much more on today's edition of iWake. I'm Tim Chatton, and this is what's going on in the Apple world today. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of iWake. So before I head off to my trip down south, there's a couple of news stories that I felt important to share with you guys. First off is the fact that Amazon has announced the lowering of cost of their higher-end Kindle Fire HD, which maxes out at $500. So it's starting now at just $269 for the Wi-Fi only unit, and maxing out at $399. So a significant price drop here. So it dropped from $500 to $400 on the high end, and on the low end it dropped, I believe, just what was $30. I'm not exactly sure on the low end how much that price dropped, but if you're definitely looking for a 3G LTE unit, whatever it is, big price drop of $100. Now, it's unclear why they're doing this. Is it from lack of sales, or is it just to stick it to Apple that, hey, we can do this and our business doesn't matter if we actually make money on these devices? So it's just very interesting news there. More information about that, Amazon.com, of course. Related to the Kindle Fire is actually Android. And something rather interesting happened, and that's Andy Rubin. He's kind of the Scott Forstall, or ex-Scott Forstall, of Android. He was the leader, the fearless leader of Android, and he has stepped down and is being replaced by the VP of Chrome OS. And it's unclear what Andy Rubin will be doing. The Chrome OS guy will be still doing his Chrome OS job as well as Android. So Andy will not be leaving the company. I'll be curious, will he be taking on some top secret project, or is this just a way to fade him out as he wants to move on and do other things with his life? It's really unclear. So this is rather interesting stuff going on. Android is being much more polished, and thanks to Andy Rubin. So I'll be curious, what's the direction of Android? Is it going to be more like Chrome OS? It could be. We just don't know what the future is of Android with design metaphors and things like that, as much of that was part of Andy's job. So next up today, let's move on to alcohol. Lots of people like it, I'm sure. The Breathometer is a new Indiegogo project that aims to help iPhone users not drive drunk. What does it do? Well, what it does is it connects to your headphone jack and can be put on your keychain, and it will be a breathalyzer for you. Starting at $20 on Indiegogo for earlier deliveries, you'll pay more for that. So January deliveries at $20. $50 to $100 for July deliveries, I believe. So very, very cool project. More information about this is linked in the show notes. Next up today is Reason 7 for the Macintosh. So Propellerhead has announced Reason 7. If you're a musician, this is exciting news for you. So new features include the external MIDI instrument device, which brings MIDI out support to Reason 7, letting you connect your favorite external MIDI gear right into Reason. And it's been improved with automatic slicing into single notes or hits, making perfect timing really simple. For mixing, Reason 7 is taking some of that functionality into the Reason Rack, added new bus channels and new Spectrum EQ. Additionally, Reason 7 comes with an expanded sound bank and some additional features that I won't go into here. But for those interested in Reason, you probably know who you are. Go check it out. It's in the show notes, and it's pretty cool that it's now out for the musicians in the audience. Next up today is a little bizarre iPhone case that I saw highlighted on Macworld. And this is called the Mini Key. And it's going to be shipping in a month or two. For the price tag, actually shipping on March 15th, my apologies there, so very soon this week it sounds like. Price priced at, I believe, $60. I could be mistaken there. But what this is, it basically turns your iPhone into a BlackBerry. You get a slide-out portrait keyboard, or landscape keyboard, I should say, and connects over Bluetooth. And I'm curious if there's a market for this. The benefit, of course, is you don't have to use any of your screen towards the keyboard, as that's all done externally. So when you connect via your keyboard right now via Bluetooth, you have all that extra screen space. So I'm curious, is there a market for this? Who would buy this? Is the keyboard itself any good? The link is in the show notes for those that want to pre-order and get more information about this little iPhone case. Next up, just to mention that Google I/O sold out within an hour, and just like WWDC, people have been having problems actually paying for it and trying to register when it was available. So Google I/O hit and is sold out. Next up, The Verge has reviewed the Roku 3, and this review was really well done. It was done by someone that wasn't biased in any big way I could see. He uses and loves the Apple TV. He really depends on it for AirPlay and things like that. So it was refreshing to see a review that wasn't all Apple bashing and, oh, this is much better in this regard, but instead it was a more balanced review. It mentioned the benefits that the Apple TV has. AirPlay was the one that he favored, but for me, of course, it's the ability to play back all my iTunes content that I buy from that store. It was refreshing to see, hey, what does Roku have to offer these days? What kind of content does it have, and what else can it do? So it was cool to see, hey, you can attach a hard drive to it and play MKVs or MP4s from that hard drive. It was cool to see what kind of channels are out there. So it was a really well review, and I'd encourage you to read it. It's in the show notes. The Roku 3 is reviewed by The Verge. Next up, I wanted to talk about this very bizarre thing that's happening in the entertainment industry, in that of music pricing versus film pricing. So I stumbled upon the fact that Les Miserables is available for pre-order now as a movie, or the deluxe edition of the soundtrack, which I believe contains all of the songs and perhaps the full 2.5 hours or however long it is. So you have the deluxe soundtrack that was not available a few weeks ago, that's becoming available now. That is priced at $20 for all this music. $20. Great deal, right? Well, when you look at the movie available in iTunes, you have the full movie, which includes all of that music that you get on those CDs, plus it includes the visuals of the movie itself. You also get iTunes extras, bonus content about this film, and substantial content. It looks like very well done iTunes extra content. How much is that? You would think it'd be more than just a standalone audio. It's not. It's $15. So, why would I spend $20 on the audio version when I could get everything for $15? In fact, it seems weird that this pricing is so messed up. It seems like, hey, this is just the audio. It should be $10, something like that. The music industry says they have problems selling stuff. Perhaps it's a pricing issue that I would gladly spend $10 or $8 on the deluxe edition, but instead they're pricing it higher than the movie itself. So, this is one of the major things I feel is kind of wrong with the industry, and one of the things that maybe encourages people to steal content. Stealing's never right. Torrenting is never right. But having it priced more than the movie itself seems like something that encourages people to do wrong, when in fact people would love to pay you a fair price for it. But what is fair? So that's the question I pose. Why is this pricing so backwards, where the movie should be the more expensive thing? And one thing I should note is, hooray for the movie industry getting on board with $15 HD new releases. $15 for a new release in iTunes in HD with iTunes extras and early releases at that. A great job, movie industry. They're quickly learning not to fall into the trap the music industry did. And the music industry is still lagging behind. It's one of the most baffling things. So anyways, let's move on from there. And I just want to note that iFixit has torn down the Pebble smartwatch and it's unrepairable according to iFixit, or very hard to repair. So kind of funny there how that all works out. Next up, interesting comparison, iTunes versus Amazon digital accounts. In iTunes, when you move from country to country, you have to start from scratch as far as your digital content. If you want to continue to use the store and buy stuff within the country you reside in and be legal, you have to start from scratch. There's no way to transfer over apps, books, movies, music, anything. They compare it to Amazon. With Kindle books, you're able to migrate your account to a new country and migrate over all that content. And it continues to baffle me that we live in a divided country, digitally speaking, and region codes are still a thing on Blu-rays. If you buy Blu-ray from the United Kingdom, it most likely won't work on your Blu-ray player here in the United States. It's one of the craziest things in the world, how we migrate and segregate off this world of content. So that's something of note. It's an interesting read. It's definitely a problem, I think, that I would love Apple to solve. I guess they believe that not enough people move from country to country, which I'm sure there's a lot of people that do that, and I'm curious if this will ever change. Next up today, and last up today, is one of the most baffling, or not last of the day, second last today. It's one of those baffling things I've seen in a long time. Netflix. They've added this feature where you can have Netflix automatically post every movie or TV show you watch to your Facebook account. And it sounds great, right? I really would love you to know that I watched Top Gun the other night, or whatever movie it is. But the baffling thing is, I really don't want this feature. I don't want people to know every single movie I watch. Some of them are guilty pleasures, or movies that they're just brain dead movies that I watch to fall asleep to, or the amount of content I watch sometimes is embarrassing. Say you go binge watching over a weekend on The West Wing, you watch an entire season over a weekend. That would be kind of embarrassing, I think, to have publicly displayed. But I guess some people are excited about this. I'm not sure. This seems a little too invasive. I like to tweet out about some stuff I watch, just not everything. So it seems like a wrong idea, and I'm not sure who this would appeal to, quite honestly. And that's coming from someone that likes to live in public. I have no qualms about privacy or things like that, but I don't want to share every part of my life. Some things I just are fine just keeping that to myself. Last up today is that of Apple Maps. They have rolled out some significant improvements, and some of these rollouts may not appear on your device today, but in the next few days they should. So, new cities with flyover support. Some really exciting ones for me. So, Modesto, California. Yeah, it's Stockton, California. Indianapolis, Indiana. And this one was really exciting because I used to live there. I grew up there. And it was really cool to see the downtown of Indy in flyover view. Baltimore, Maryland, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Portland, Maine, which is cool because I have also visited there. Albany, New York, Buffalo, New York, Cleveland, Ohio, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Providence, Rhode Island, Green Bay, Wisconsin, Vancouver, British Columbia, Copenhagen, Germany, excuse my pronunciation, and Glasgow, Scotland. And they've improved, so they've expanded the coverage. In Birmingham, Boston, exciting, Portland, Oregon, Houston, Toronto, Copenhagen, London, Lyon, France, Berlin, Germany, Munich, Germany, Rome, Italy, Barcelona, Madrid, and Stockholm. So very cool news there for the expanded coverage in Apple Maps. I think many people enjoy that feature. I certainly love when cities I try to look at have that. It really is a nice thing. Apple has extended 3D building renderings for locations that have not yet access to this feature. So it sounds like they've also started the 3D render buildings that don't even have flyover view. There's also numerous improvements to Chinese things like that, and additional things. So very cool news. I would love to see flyover come to Manchester, New Hampshire. I'm not sure if that will ever come, but one can hope. So with that said, thank you for tuning into today's episode of iWake. As mentioned yesterday, I will be on the road this weekend and may or may not have a show out. Most likely, if I do have a show out, it might be audio only, as that's going to be the only way I'll be able to upload content, with video upload being pretty poor. I may be able to do over 3G, but I'm not quite sure. So with that said, yes, there might be a show, might not. You can find the show notes at iWakePodcast.com. Video versions at youtube.com/TCHATEN. And I also do, I write books. I've got 3 books out in the iBookstore now. iPod Evolution, The Working Homeless, and Poetry Enhanced with Video Performances. Search for iPod Evolution in the iBookstore to find that one, and then find the other ones in the related area of that book. With that said, thank you for tuning into today's show, and I'll talk to everyone again on another edition of iWake. Have a wonderful Thursday.